Hello and welcome to another edition of Leafless, Not Lifeless. I'm Sharon Benjamin, and I am so delighted that you are listening, that you are watching. As always, I have a phenomenal guest, and I'll tell you about him later. But in the meantime, let me let you know that you can get in touch with me at leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. That's leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. Perhaps you'd like to share your story about how you might have appeared to seem leafless, but you were actually growing and developing. Again, leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. You'll be right here with me on Leafless Not Lifeless with Sharon Benjamin. So again, thank you for watching and listening. And my guest today is Edward Gordon. Thank you so much, Edward, for joining me.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm excited to be here today.
Yes, yes, and I know the listeners and viewers are going to get some great information. So listen, Edward is a former music teacher. He has served as a lead teacher in public and other schools, and he has served as a vice principal, served as a principal, and he now uh, conducts or operates a leadership academy. And the show is typically for people who might appear to be leafless, but they're actually growing and developing and coming into full bloom. Well, today, Edward kind of fits in both categories because Edward had a leafless, not lifeless situation and just motivated him to do something to help others. But we'll get to that later. So right now, Edward, why don't you let us know, how did you get into education? What motivated you?
Yes, thank you for that question, opportunity for me to share my story of how I got into education. And it started with just the modeling of my mother, who was and served as a family and consumer science teacher for 35 years in the Passaic Public School District in New Jersey. And for me, just growing up and watching my mother teach and also serve as the department chair at Passaic High School, I just really fell in love with education and the impact that she was having on her students. And it really motivated me to want to go into education, but most importantly, to one day become a school leader. And I knew that in order to be a school leader, I needed to spend some time teaching first. And I'm so thankful that my parents invested in me at an early age to study the music, study the piano, and also later the trombone. And I used that opportunity and the talent that was given to me over those years to go ahead and study music and music education at the University of South Carolina and then become a certified music teacher. After that time period, of completing my studies, I was able to come back and work at John F. Kennedy High School in Paterson, New Jersey, as a music teacher and later a lead teacher of a fine performing arts academy, and then be able to transition to actually become a school principal and school leader, serving students all the way from preschool through high school in various traditional public school settings as well as charter school settings.
All right, so you mentioned all of those pieces. That's wonderful. So how did those, so you are a music director and teacher, how did some of those pieces help you to become a school leader?
Yes, so it's very fortunate enough to have a role as a music teacher to be a marching band director. And when you're in that role, you have to be able to communicate with various stakeholders in education, the students who are part of the band, their parents, to keep them informed about the rehearsals and the practice routines of the band, but also with the athletic director who is a part of the school, as well as the superintendent, and be that advocate with the business administrator for funding to support uniforms and also transportation that's needed for festivals and different games. So I really had a really unique opportunity as a band director to really connect with various educational stakeholders and really learn what it takes to have proper communication, budgeting skills, organizational skills, how to recruit students, how to recruit assistants to work for the marching band, how to do scheduling for your football games as well as for the festivals. So there's a lot of administrative tasks that I learned in that role as being a marching band director, and that really helped me to develop and grow and take on my first leadership role as an assistant principal.
So all of those, while you were doing that, were you deliberately thinking about school leadership, or were you just doing that because that's how an organization should work?
As I think about it now, I really wasn't intentional at that time in reference to what I was doing in my growth. I knew that it was a part of it and there were components. But now, as I have learned more and through my studies in educational leadership, I learned that the work that I was doing was really preparing me for the next steps. And I also have opportunities to reflect back at many stages in my life, even through my growth and development in the church, and even in the high school marching band program, being the president of the marching band, and then going to the University of South Carolina and organizing a dean's council with all the fraternities and sororities and other organizations in the music department to be able to come together as presidents to be able to address some of the current concerns in the music school of music with our dean. So there's been various leadership opportunities for me, and I think that I'm very thankful in terms of the opportunities that were given to me to be able to have an impact in different organizations and different groups throughout my life.
And you mentioned, I picked up on the negotiation skills throughout. So even with working with the students' parents in the marching band and the other entities that you mentioned, you had to do a lot of negotiation.
Yes, some of the negotiations around the time and commitment, and in order to really get students and even parents on board with the commitment that's needed to develop a successful marching band program and to do other things, you really have to share the vision about where you're going, and also share best practices of what other people are doing to actually get there. And then also share the time and commitment is needed to actually be able to move a program from where it is right now to where you want it to go. And all of that is important in that communication to really get the buy-in and the stakeholders on board to be able to be on one accord, to be aligned to move the organization forward.
And that's really important. And we can talk a little bit about that more as when we talk about your academy. But I remember seeing the marching band for our high school, which typically practiced on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and they would be on the field until 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So a lot of that also, you're looking at the parents, but the students as well in terms of time management, because they have to keep up with their academics, and some of them even work jobs. So you had all of those components wrapped up in one. So the other thing I want to mention is, so I said, this is Leafless, not Lifeless. And again, typically it's about people who may seem to be leafless, but they really have something going on, and it eventually blossoms. So you had worked as a music teacher, lead teacher, vice principal, principal, and then the axe fell, as they might say.
Yes,
What
yes,
was
yes.
that for you? How was that?
That was a really stressful time in my life, fearful, and a time where I didn't really know what was happening. Just to give you some the audience a background information around the situation, I was going through my career, moving forward, a successful school leader, and then I got terminated from a job. And I really took some time to really think about things and really ask God, what was happening? Why did this happen to me? Why was I so successful in other positions and now things are not working out for me? And what was revealed to me at that time is the fact that, Edward, you all these years in the past, you were doing this without a coach, and you weren't doing this, and you didn't have a mentor in your life. Okay. And once I really understood and really learned the difference between a coach and a mentor, which are two separate people, and understood that I needed both, I did get a coach and I did get a mentor, and I was able to reconnect with education and lead schools through the New Teacher Project when I did some school turnaround work for the city of Philadelphia. And during that time period, I just saw the gaps that I had before close based on the great coaching and mentoring that I received. And from there, I in every area of my life right now, I have a coach and a mentor. And I believe, and I've been a strong advocate for all educators and school leaders to be able to have them, because there's many teachers and school leaders that are working each and every day and believe that they have to do this alone. And I really wanted to be able to share that message that you don't have to do that alone. There are certified coaches that are there to be able to support you and ask you questions to bring all of your strengths out and have that the awareness in terms of the areas that you need to improve so you can perform at your best level. And that's the key thing in education, that we're performing at our best level as teachers and school leaders in the best interest of the students that we serve.
That's a great point. And so out of that leafless, not lifeless situation, you came up with a great idea to start a leadership academy. Tell us about that.
Yes, in 2019 is when I really thought about my experience and what I have gone through, and really took opportunity to step out of the role of leading a school and to begin Gordon Leadership Academy. And what we do is we provide coaching and mentoring for teachers and school leaders. And that is really key because based on what I went through, I do not want any other educators or school leaders to go through that as well. And the key thing here is that with this, we also do a lot of work with teachers that want to become school principals. We have a coaching program that helps prepare them for the School Leadership Licensure Assessment, which is a required assessment in 24 states and territories, which includes the U.S. Virgin Islands and Guam, to be a certified principal. And once they are a certified principal and have passed the exam, we help you through the interview process to get a job. And then once you're in the position, provide ongoing coaching and mentoring. And that is really key in terms of the work that we're doing. So I wake up every morning excited about the educators and school leaders and teachers that I'm able to support and help them on their journey.
So the academy is not just, all right, we're going to show you how to do this, and then you have to go off on your own. You continue to hold their hand to some degree.
Yes, definitely an ideal client or a person that we work with is someone that understands the importance of that ongoing coaching and mentoring throughout their journey. And yes, we do not just prepare you for the exam, but we keep that opportunity of a connection and relationship as you go through the various stages of your career. And we want to be that academy and the coaches that are always with you every step of the way.
So how is it that someone could join the academy? What is the process?
Yes, so there are a couple of ways that someone can work with Gordon Leadership Academy. One is definitely that teacher that had made the decision right now. It's time for me to make a transition to become a school leader. It's a matter of just directly reaching out to myself or a member of my team, the Gordon Leadership Academy, through email or a direct phone call. And we will help through our consultation really understand what is your plan and really provide and offer our services that are going to help you along your journey. There is also a situation where there's a teacher or there's a current school leader that just needs some coaching to be able to move from the area of being stuck right now in the role that they're currently in. And we can be able to support teachers as well as school leaders so that they can perform to their highest level. And I'll say the third level or the third opportunity is when there's a teacher or a school leader who's looking to make a transition, either in their current school district, wants to get into a new assignment, or want to make a transition to another school district. We help them to be able to do the interview process and help them provide coaching around their resume so they can really highlight their strengths and the impact that they're making, and also the impact that they will make in the new school district that they're hired in.
It sounds as if, so when someone approaches the Gordon Leadership Academy, it seems as if there's some coaching going on even before the person is admitted into the academy.
That is exactly correct. And it's key that we have this consultation and this initial coaching to be able to determine whether or not Gordon Leadership Academy is the right fit for that potential student in the program. Yes, there are several coaches and mentors throughout this country, okay, and internationally as well, that can support educators. We wanted to make sure that we're the right fit for you as the client. And if we're not, we also want to make recommendations of other coaches as well that might be a better fit. There going through 3 months or 6 months and not having the right coach to be able to support you is not good for anyone. It's frustrating for the coach, frustrating for the client. But that's why that pre-coaching is key in our admissions period.
That's awesome. So it looks as if we have something else here. You work with a diverse group of people. Tell us
Yes.
about this one.
Yeah, so what you see on the screen is a picture of the Business Network International Matrix chapter. There were a chapter that is based in northern New Jersey. And on the screen, there are various businesses that are represented, from real estate, the attorneys, Pamper Chef entrepreneurs, personal injury attorneys, nonprofit leaders, other business coaches. And what as a member of this chapter, is the opportunity to network weekly with these other individuals, and I learn more about what is the ideal referral for each of these businesses represented. And as I go through my day, I'm always thinking, keeping my eyes and ears open about how I can refer to one or more of these members of this team. And also at the same time, as they're interacting along their day in terms of their businesses, they're also thinking about who will be a great referral for Edward Gordon, Principal Gordon at Gordon Leadership Academy as well. And I just enjoy and I'm grateful to be a part of such a diverse group of professionals that really work as a family and really want to support each other. And we're all considered to be each other's business partners.
That's amazing. So among these, you mentioned earlier, if Gordon Academy is not right for a potential client, then you have a network of people to whom you could refer.
Yes, yes. They're a network, and based on some other areas that they might need some support on, and then personally or professionally. And even within this chapter, we have one of my mentors, Miss Angela Huber Manyfield, who is also another coach that right within this chapter that I'm able to refer if there's not a right fit for me.
That's awesome. We have some others. You've been doing quite a bit. Seems like you've been busy. So you've been traveling as well. And tell us about this visit.
Yeah, so here is James Clark Elementary School, is a school in Connecticut that I had opportunity to visit, but also I've been doing work in schools and working with individuals in Alexandria, Virginia, Reading School District in Pennsylvania, Montclair Public Schools, West Orange Public Schools, Newark Public Schools, and also based on the fact that we do most of our work virtually, I'm able to work with educators and school leaders and teachers in the Sudan, Germany, Turkey. So it's been great to be able to make an impact in education, not only throughout the United States, but also internationally as well.
That's interesting. And as you were talking, I'm thinking about, while there may be certain cultural norms, but basically children need some of the same kinds of principles and ideas and strategies. And the other part is that teachers need some of the very same things as well to help the students along and to communicate with parents.
You are exactly correct. And what I've noticed is that the same educational challenges that we are having in our schools in the United States are the same that are happening overseas. So that is why I enjoy the work that I'm doing. There's a need for more coaches and mentors like myself because the need for this type of assistance for our teachers and school leaders is great. And I'm excited to be a part of this work and also be able to support as many educators as possible.
There's another one. You've been getting around.
Yes, this is also the school. It's also in Connecticut as well. It was an opportunity to be able to connect with other educators to really be able to share more about what Gordon Leadership Academy has to offer. And I like to travel. And I always try to make a point of when I go to various conferences, travel to various states, to be able to set up opportunity to connect with as many educators as I travel. And, on LinkedIn, you can have a lot of followers and people connected to, but I like to take it a step farther. Let's take an opportunity to, I'm traveling to your state. How can we meet for a networking hour so I can hear more about them as educators, the work they're doing in their schools. They can hear more about myself and Gordon Leadership Academy, and we can always think about how we can work together and partner with in the future. And another thing that I think is very valuable about these networking opportunities is that there are great things that are happening within our schools all over this country and also internationally. And we won't know that unless we take an opportunity to get off the social media and just pick up the phone and actually talk to individuals and take time to drive and meet them and sit down and really learn. And once you learn the information about what they're doing, best practices, be in a position like myself that there's another educator that's going through a challenge, be able to connect them together who has best practices, or for me, even being that coach and mentor, be able to share what I've learned from other educators who are doing great things.
A question. So what is your goal for the Leadership Academy? I know it's relatively new, but what is your long range plan, your long range goal of what you've thought about, at least up to this point?
Yes, my long range goal is to be able to get as many teachers certified as principals as possible, but be able to support them that they're not just certified, that they develop to be highly qualified principals, and that is really key. And that is what I want to continue to work. And now that there's opportunities, another thing that we're able to offer at Gordon Leadership Academy is online courses to help educators and others with their soft skills. And that is really key. And when you're looking for a job and want to be marketable, even in your current position, developing these soft skills around communication and project management and team building, those soft skills are important. And many times in our educational systems, we have this one size fit all type of professional development. Everybody's in a room, everybody's learning the same thing. At Gordon Leadership Academy, we're able to offer online courses for individuals through the school districts. And we want to partner with as many school districts as possible to provide these online courses where educators 24/7 can be at their home, they can be on their prep, they can be learning these skills that are not normally taught in professional development opportunities in their districts. And I believe that our schools are going to be stronger with improved communication amongst teachers, amongst students, teachers to students, teachers and school leaders to parents. And I believe these soft skills are important. So I see Gordon Leadership Academy being in every school, in every school district, be able to provide these online courses for our educators.
This is quite exciting, and I've already shared your information with a young man who's in education and who's looking at leadership. So for the rest of you, here you go. Here's the contact information, COACHEW Gordon2@gmail.com, and he's shared his phone number here. You can get in touch with him and talk to a real person and not have a long line of
Yes.
the press one, press two, or whatever it might be. This is really exciting. I'm excited about this as an educator myself. I was just speaking with one of my colleagues yesterday. Both of us teach at the same college, and we were talking about some of the deficits that we're seeing. So hopefully, as you're working with the teachers and as they are becoming leaders and helping the parents, all of this information will just transcend, and I don't want to say trickle down, but it will transcend and reach the students as well, because that's where we really have to make sure we take care of that, because some of them will become leaders and we want to make sure they're well prepared. Any parting words?
Yes, I just want to say exactly what what you were ending on in terms of how do we get this type of leadership training, this soft skills training out to as many of our students as well. I mean, I have been taking these courses myself to be able to see firsthand how impactful it can be. And that is one thing I really want to work for Gordon Leadership Academy. How do we partner with our universities, our colleges, or even our high school seniors in the various high schools to be able to provide this type of soft skills training, either in person, virtually, or through these online courses, so that we can have highly qualified, prepared individuals for our workforce in any profession or career that they choose. And that is something that Gordon Leadership Academy is on a mission and desire to do.
Well, thank you so much. Edward Gordon from Gordon Leadership Academy. You can see him on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and we shared the number, his contact information. Edward, thank you so much. This is very, very helpful, very enlightening, and I'm sure the listeners and viewers will enjoy as well. So thank you so much, so very much for joining me for this edition of Leafless, Not Lifeless. I'm Sharon Benjamin at Leafless, Not Lifeless, and you can reach me at leaflessnotlifeless@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Love to be able to share your story as well. So again, thank you for being with me for this edition of Leafless, Not Lifeless, and we will see you the next time.